We're going to Vrindavan now. This is from Śrīpāda Hṛdayānanda Bābājī Mahārāja, who was born in Radhakund and had been a pujari for 78 years. Wow.
A pujari, worshiped the deity for 78 years.
He lives next to the Radha Damodar temple. Okay.
Wow.
At the beginning of the interview, upon being asked if he knew Srila Prabhupada, Bābājī Mahārāja began to cry. Never have I seen anyone do sadhana like he did.
Wow.
Right, chanting his rounds with such concentration, hearing Bhagavatam. I have lived all my life in Vraja, and I've never seen anyone like him. Prabhupada did many arduous, sometimes you get these people that they're sitting at Radhakund and chanting and thinking, and they're criticizing Prabhupada of all people.
Right.
Oh, he wasn't deep, he was institutional, blah, blah, blah.
Give me a break.
Yeah, give me a break.
Give me a break, people.
I'm not hearing any of that garbage. Some newbie, wants to.
Giving some.
Yeah, no. Here's a Babaji born at Radhakund saying, "I've never ever seen anyone do sadhana like him."
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Nepal, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York City, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show. We're here live. This is episode 1460. It's November 5th, and I'm here with a big live crew of people. Say Haribol, everybody. Haribol, a big crew. We're exhausted. We had an incredible day today, but I am ready to drop dead. But I can turn it on. I can turn it on for the microphone and the cameras.
Full. We're gonna just
don't turn on full.
Turn on just a little bit. Yeah. Let's see if we can.
We went to the ancient, like from the 700s or something, this town called Bhaktipur.
Yeah.
And it's Pur is like the city. It's like the city of Bhakti, and there's all these beautiful pagoda temples. Different than the Vedic temples, with Jagannath and with Nrsingadev. And with Lakshmi and Vishnu and Sita Ram. We sat down. It was everybody's a lot of people's maybe first public kirtan, because we're sitting there in a public square. It's a tourist square. Even Nepalese tourists comes. Definitely Westerners are there. And they just sort of we just had a satsang about Lord Nrsingadev, and then we just broke into kirtan. And people were like, oh, interesting. By the time we finished this kirtan, we were surrounded. People were dancing. People jumped up on the platform we were on. It became a whole party. And I tell you, the Nepalese people, they love kirtan. It was so sweet. And afterwards, it was really nice. It's like a boy, maybe 14 years old, came up and he said, Lord Krishna loves dancing. If you cannot sing, you dance. Lord Krishna loves it when you dance. And if you're not good at dancing, then you sing. And if you can't sing, then you clap your hands. Either way, the Lord is pleased. It was such a beautiful thing. And I think it was his mom, perhaps, that was up there with us, jumping up and down. Some old lady. And then some crazy tourists sort of jumped on board, and they started dancing. And it was a great way to enter the pilgrimage, that's for sure.
Nice.
And that was it, pretty much. It's a charming little town. I'm gonna get a singing bowl, Kaustubha. What do you think of them? Sound healing.
I've been gifted some singing bowls.
Huh?
I could give you one if you like, Ragnar.
I want a big one, man. My chakras are way out of whack. I need a big one that's gonna keep me in tune. Guy did it to me today, and I was like, oh my God, what just happened to me? He waved that thing around. It felt like it was like a laser cutting through my very dark aura and bringing out the light in me. Whatever happened, I walked out of there. I was like, I think I got to purchase that thing. I don't care what it costs. Anyway, it was a very interesting experience. Then people are painting these tankas very beautifully. What else? Did we get anything today? I got those paintings.
All right.
Anything else? Okay, mugs. How are you? How's Vrindavan? What are you
Yeah,
doing
there,
today?
no, there is stuff going on in my life over here.
Well, let's have a conversation. Let's
All
have a
right, let's do that.
conversation. What's going on? What did you do?
Today-
Tell me.
It's the disappearance day of Srila Prabhupada here in
Mhm.
Vrindavan.
You know what? I didn't find out that until later in the day. I need a little
Oh.
meditation time on that. It's a day the
Well,
the
we're
guru
going to
of our
get into it
guru.
on the show today, Raghunath, so
Oh,
you'll
okay.
have a chance.
All right.
But there was a very, very lovely program at the Bhaktivedanta ashram here at Govardhan, the palace.
Nice.
Oh, so many special devotees sharing their thoughts, sharing their realizations, sharing their experiences. Beautiful,
Disappearance
big,
Day is the
beautiful.
day the guru leaves his body, and so it's in commemoration of that.
There was a big, beautiful feast, and it was one of those times I said, I'm just serving out, and I was so glad I did. I served all the Vaishnavas.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and then I sat down and talked with the Vaishnavas, and then everyone was gone, and that's when I ate, and I was very happy in my heart. It's a nice way to.
You're a good boy.
You feel
Yeah,
happy in
good
the
boy,
heart when you say
Kastuba.
that. Thank you. Anyway, beautiful event.
That sounds great.
Beautiful kirtan.
How's your health? You feeling strong?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Pretty good.
India's got that thing. It's sort of like at any minute it could go south quick.
I'm trying to be on top of
Oh,
it.
Yeah, you got to be on top of it. All
In
right, that's
Vrindavan, you
wonderful.
really have to be on top of it.
You got to be on top of it.
All right.
All right. What's going on?
Let's
What
make a
else is
thing
next?
of Prabhupada's disappearance. I got some things to read. But let's check in with Mara and see if she has any announcements. Mara's all
Miss
healthy now?
Mara. She's right
Mara's
here.
100%, huh?
Yeah, I'm feeling better.
You're 100%?
Not quite 100. I still got a like nasty cough, but
She's like
Okay.
79%.
Well, the cough, I think a lot of it just has to do with the dust, So I think you get yourself some lozenges. When it gets real dusty, you cover your face like this. That's what I've been doing now.
Not that
And,
dusty here, sir. Not that
Oh,
dusty.
well, it was dusty where she was, so maybe it's still with her.
Yeah, that Vrindavan dust is lodged in your lungs. Might be a good thing.
all right. There's no show tomorrow, but there is a live Bhakti Recovery Group meeting in Philadelphia at the Bhakti Garden at 7 p.m. tomorrow evening. For those people who are in and around Philadelphia. Also, if Wisdom of the Sages has been helpful in your life and you'd like to contribute to our work, log on to wisdomofthesages.com and become a supporting member of the Sage Community Platform.
Join our platform. It's fun. Be part of our inner family.
Yeah. We've been dropping a ton of new classes there in the last few weeks.
Mhm.
And you can also see announcements and things like that when we're changing, because I know we're all over the place with our calendar
Now,
lately.
you got to make sure you record Raghunath's wonderful talks there in Nepal. We need to
I
drop
did a good
that
talk
stuff.
this morning. I should have
Did you
recorded
record it?
that.
You see?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Just went out
Yeah.
to the ether.
This
Yes,
just
go
in
on.
also, the Bhakti Recovery Group meeting in Philly is actually also on Zoom, so it's hybrid. So if you're not in the Philly area, you can still join in.
Okay. But you
We're
see that
following the
now
7
Martina is saying, Raghu, this is serious. You just play around like that, but these people are contributing. We're telling them we're going to give them lots of stuff, and then you do stuff and you don't record it. You got to record it. It's a simple thing. Get on
I
his
blame
case.
Mara. Mara's got to do it.
That's because you're
Fault.
childish.
I
Mara.
apologize. I apologize.
Take no personal responsibility. That's my mantra today. And we're practicing the 7 pillars of bhakti here. Have you heard of the 7 pillars of bhakti?
I don't want to hear
Kastuba?
them. I do not want to hear them.
It's the 6 pillars, and the 7th one is we don't speak of politics.
Oh,
That's our
okay.
7th pillar. We're not speaking of politics on this entire pilgrimage.
At all.
We're not going to even know who won or lost. Let's just keep it. If you found out, don't tell anybody. Let's just keep it. See how long we can go.
Exciting.
Okay.
Okay. We ready to get into it, Raghunath?
Yeah. I'm wired on 5 espresso beans. Let's
Okay.
do this.
So, in honor of the Disappearance Day, it's such a unique kind of bittersweet day, is it not? Because you're kind of honoring the day that the person that you have feel such deep affection and gratitude towards left the world, but there's something in their memory that makes them very present. And that's a mystery in bhakti that goes very, 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 very deep. And so this day can be one of the most special days. I took from, I've done this in the past, but I took from the book from, her name is Mula Prakriti Devi Dasi, and she put a book together called Our Srila Prabhupada, A Friend to All. Remember that book?
Yeah, it's a great book.
Yeah, it's where she goes around interviewing all these people that knew Prabhupada like a long, long time ago. All these people from Vrindavan, these people from Navadvip, people from Calcutta,
Right.
you know, just like get some really cool testimonies there, you know?
Yeah. It's people who met him before he became famous.
And you know, sometimes it's a picture into a life of Prabhupada that we didn't have access to. Like you know, Prabhupada was this incredibly deep bhakti yogi, but the symptoms that sometimes bhakti yogis display, like they cry when they chant and things like that, you know, Prabhupada, you know, kind of held that stuff back for the most part, you know? But you go to these people that knew him back then, they're like, oh yeah, he was crying every day. He was just chanting and crying. You know, it's like, they say these things. You realize before he came to the West, he was in a deep, deep, deep meditation on this mission impossible.
Yeah.
So some of the things I'll read today will have to do with that, including this first one that I want to read to you, okay?
Sure.
Okay, so this
By the
is
way, I'm in
from-
total Prabhupada consciousness because I'm listening, audio booking Yamuna Devi's book. And there's
Total?
so much deep appreciation for those early devotees who were really just like Lewis and Clarking it, you know, going through India, all getting sick, dealing with Indian government, trying to find places to stay, trying to create big programs for the people, and blowing everybody's mind, really. And how much personal instruction Prabhupada gave Yamuna Devi. Very
Oh, man.
sweet, very fatherly, loving instructions. Right now I'm at the part in the book where she got jaundice, and Prabhupada diagnosed her and said, "You have jaundice. This is what you're going to have to do." And he every day made her take these, you know, this natural cure for is like sugarcane juice and like boiled squash and
I
sugar.
would just be like, tell me what to do, Prabhupada. Sugarcane?
Just
Okay,
tell me.
sugarcane.
You're my doctor. Heal me.
I
Yeah.
won't try anything else. Just tell me what to do. Okay, this is from a person who was the Pūjārī, who was like the temple priest from Śrī Advaita Ācārya's house in Śāntipura, West Bengal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Śāntipura is the town where Advaita Ācārya, one of the, I won't go into too much detail for everyone that doesn't know, but one of the great holy figures, you know, manifestations of the divine, related to Sri Chaitanya 500 years ago. And Srila Prabhupada would go to that place to pray, to chant and to pray. And this priest is going to tell about it. So the way this came about, this story is, the story was heard in Mayapur in 1980. A man came to the ISKCON Chaitanya Chandrodaya Mandir, to our temple there in Mayapur in 1980. And he was carrying with him a copy of Back to Godhead magazine, which was like the magazine of the Hare Krishna movement, and had an article in that magazine about Srila Prabhupada entitled A Lifetime in Preparation. So that was probably like a chapter from Prabhupada's biography, I assume.
Yeah.
That was probably published in the magazine. Okay, so here it goes. Just recently, an amazing realization occurred to me that I wanted to share with devotees everywhere. This is that priest saying this. I've been the Pujari and Sevite, the one who does the service, in the house of Advaita Ācārya for many years. I was also there back in the 40s and in the 50s. Okay. At that time, I noticed one Grihasta Bengali devotee. So that means a Bengali devotee who was a married man, right, wearing white clothes and so on.
Yeah.
He was dressed in white khadi. That's a white khadi dhoti. That's the simple hand loom cloth. And kurta, the shirt. And he always came alone. He would sit in the back of the temple without speaking, and he would chant Harinama on his mala very quietly and deeply. So there's Prabhupada as a grihasta in the back of the temple, not talking to anyone, chanting very quietly, chanting very deeply. His presence was profound, and I became attracted to him. Since his devotions were solitary, I never spoke to disturb him. That's thoughtful, right? Right? The Pujari is happy someone's come
Sometimes
to
you go to a temple and it becomes a very social thing. and you can lose out on sometimes the depth of it, like at a feast or at a celebration. So it's interesting to hear Prabhupada did go to the temple, maybe for the energy of it all, but kept himself sort of in a little snow globe there, private.
And this man respected that. He could see, oh, he's going deep. I'm just going to let him be, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I happened to notice that while he was chanting, his eyes would be full of tears and his voice would be choked up. Then, for a long time, he did not come. However, I distinctly recall, now this is real important. You ready, Raghunath?
Ready.
He says, I distinctly recall that in August of 1965, now what was significant about that date, August of 1965?
That's when he left for America.
Just about, that's like a few weeks before he left for America, right? On this long boat trip. He had been waiting since 1922 to make this trip. He'd been meditating on it, planning for it, trying to arrange for it, preparing himself for it.
If you were to tell me, Raghunath, you got to get a cargo ship. You're going to cross from the Indian Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean. If you do that, there'll be a massive Hare Krishna movement. I was like, the first thing I would say is,
I'm not sure if I can do that.
I hate boats. I don't want to go on a boat. Are you kidding? You're going to change the whole world for centuries on. You're going to change the whole world. You're going to enlighten everyone. I just hate those. I can really get sick.
But he had no guarantee like that.
There's no guarantee of nothing. He had no money, no sponsors. Nothing. There was no Indians back then in the 60s. Now there's Indians everywhere. Indian grocery stores. It's just like the fabric of our culture. There's no one there. That was India.
Yeah.
He didn't have boots for snow.
Plastic shoes.
He had little plastic slippers.
Yeah. Okay. So he's there just a few weeks before, he's prepared from 1922. Now it's 1965. It's 43 years later. And he's just weeks away from going to the West. So he said, I distinctly recall that in August of 1965, I saw a saffron cloth sannyasi, no longer grihasta, no longer. He's sitting in the back of the mandir. In a moment, I recognized him to be my old friend from before. Again, he sat for a long time chanting Hare Krishna. I could see his beads moving, his eyes closed in concentrated devotion. He was weeping unabashedly, even more than he used to while he took to the holy name. Could you imagine seeing that? Prabhupada getting ready to go, chanting, crying, begging to be able to carry out his mission.
It is finally, really it's jumping off a cliff. Yeah. It's like jumping off a cliff with a squirrel suit and never doing it before with no instructions. Like, I hope this thing works. No!
Help me. Okay, so
I like the coyote. Bugs Bunny.
He was weeping unabashedly, even more than he used to, while he took to the holy name. Finally, as evening came, he paid his Dandavat Pranam for a long time. He laid down, so he
bowed
chanted
down
all day
in the temple and just laid down
for a long time praying. When he arose, he came up to me and again thanked me for my seva here at Advaita Bhavan. Like, thank you, you're doing such a nice service at the temple here. I asked him, who are you? I remember you from so long ago. Okay. This is what Prabhupada says. He replied,
what did he say?
My name is Abhaya Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Mahārāja. I'm an unworthy disciple of His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, my Divine Master. I have been coming here for such a long time because my Gurudev has given me an impossible mission. His desire was for me to go across the ocean to the Western countries and spread the sublime teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are countless souls there who have never heard of Sri Sri Radha Krishna, and so they are suffering greatly. I have not known how this mission of his will be successful, so I have been coming here to this special house of Advaita Acharya where he, Nityananda Prabhu, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would gather together to plan the Sankirtan movement. It was here that they launched the inundation of love of God that swept India and continues to this day. Thus, I've been praying very earnestly here that they will all give me their mercy, that somehow they will empower me and guide me. I want to satisfy my Gurudev's desire, but I'm feeling unqualified to do this.
This should be like one of those self-help books, like you can do anything. You just got to
No, it
focus your mind. You got to get your place every day. You got to be meditated. It's like The Secret. You know,
But this isn't that though. This is beyond that. You know, this is. I mean, it's a great story for that kind of thing, I suppose. But this, and just for those that don't understand, when he was just out of college in 1922, he went up on the roof. He was dragged kind of to a program on the roof of a building in Calcutta, where his guru, who would become his guru, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, was there. And he and his friend bowed down. And as they're coming up, his guru, who wasn't his guru yet, but just told him straight up, you two young men, you're two very good young men, and you speak English well. You should take the teachings of Sri Chaitanya, the teachings of Bhakti, of Sankirtan. You should take them to the Western world, to the English-speaking language. And Srila Prabhupada engaged in a conversation with him that evening, and he was very impressed with him. And he said at that time he took him into his heart as his guru. He was initiated by him 11 years later. But from that moment, he took it into his heart that someday I must go to the West and share these teachings in the Western world, in the English language. And now he was about to do it, right? He's telling that man, he's crying, and now he's like 69 years old, almost 70. He's 70 while he's on the boat, you know, turned 70. And he's sitting there crying and chanting and begging that he will somehow be able to satisfy his guru's desire. Now this is, the Pujari continues. As he was speaking to me, I saw tears falling down his cheeks again. Then he continued, tomorrow I am leaving for Calcutta to go upon a ship across the ocean to America. So this is the day before he left. I do not know what will befall me there, but I am praying most earnestly here for help. Then he very humbly asked me for my blessings. I was indeed moved by this Vaishnava's sincerity and determination as I watched him depart upon his journey.
See, nowadays when you go on a Gen Z, and they're not going to get this, but you know, nowadays when you want to go somewhere, suppose I want to go to Cleveland, you know, I write, you know, how do you get to Cleveland? What do you do when you get there? Here's an Airbnb. I'm going to get an Uber to pick me up. It's so like wrinkle free.
I got my card.
It's so wrinkle. You just go, you know, traveling, you know,
money in 2 boxes.
You have
of
no
books.
money. You have no money. Yeah, you got a big crate of books. You have no idea where you're going, where you're getting dropped off, how you're going to get from. It's complete faith in God.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay,
Janeshwar told me yesterday. My assistant told me yesterday. He goes, "Yeah, when I was 15, me and my friend, we just ran away, and we had no money at all, and we just wanted to leave home and go to a temple on the other side of India, and." You know, sometimes when you have that like faith in God, I had that, Kastuba. I had that when I was in the bands because to me, my band was sort of like a religious experience because I felt like we were doing good for the world. We were straight edge. We didn't drink. We didn't smoke. We have a message of peace and positive. And I felt like, you know what? We have no money. We're going to go around. It's not, people think here, you know, we're going on a tour. You know, we're in a luxury liner. Staying at, you know, hotels. No, we didn't know where we were going. We were breaking down every 2 seconds. Our van cost $750. It was like a faith that God will take care of you if you do good works. But this is like a much more dialed in understanding. He's got the mission from his God. He's got the mission from his guru. He's teaching pure Vedic knowledge. It's never really come to the shores before, and he has no clue what's on the other side.
Yeah. Okay. Now the Pujari continues. It was a few years later that I began noticing for the first time white Vaishnavas coming to Advaita Bhavan. Who are these white people coming here and worshiping, right? They were wearing dhotis and saris. A few years later?
It was a few years later?
He says it was a few years later that I began noticing this.
They probably never saw a white Vaishnava ever.
No, there were none.
There were no white Vaishnavas.
They were wearing dhotis and saris and chanting on Tulsi Mala.
Although there were some Greek Vaishnavas.
Okay, let's hear the story, okay?
Okay, but I'm just trying to make it not just you're reading a story, trying to give it some life here.
You're taking away from the life of it.
I'm giving it a twist of another life.
So he says, they were wearing dhotis and saris and chanting on Tulsi Mala. I never spoke to any of them. But then one of them gave me this Back to Godhead magazine from America. And as I was looking at the photographs, suddenly I recognized a painting of the founder Acharya who had brought Krishna consciousness to the West. It was a picture of my friend, Bhaktivedanta Swami, who had come and prayed here so many times before. Then I realized that he had actually accomplished the impossible mission of his Gurudeva. I saw that it was indeed he, starting alone and without pretense, who had accomplished this glorious miracle against all odds. As soon as I saw this, I came here to this temple in Mayapur to tell you this information. I know that he is gone from this world now, but I thought that perhaps you might want to know this story about your and my beloved Srila Prabhupada.
What a great story.
Great story, huh?
What a great story. You know, it's like seeing someone who became famous before they were famous. Like, I used to be friends with him, and you know.
But he wandered off alone, without any help, into foreign land, across a couple oceans.
Across a few oceans in a cargo ship. Got a couple heart attacks.
A couple heart attacks on the way.
Couple heart attacks. And it wasn't like it immediately exploded. It was just like trudging it out where he got to this point where like, I don't think it's going to work.
It went a year before anything really happened.
Like, I have to go back. It's like nothing's happening here. I'm just wandering around the streets of New York.
All right. You ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
We're going to Vrindavan now. This is from Śrīpāda Hṛdayānanda Bābājī Mahārāja, who was born in Radhakund and had been a pujari for 78 years. Wow.
A pujari. Worshipped the deity for 78 years.
He lives next to the Radha Damodar temple. Okay.
Wow.
At the beginning of the interview, upon being asked if he knew Srila Prabhupada, Babaji Maharaj began to cry. Never have I seen anyone do sadhana like he did.
Wow.
Right, chanting his rounds with such concentration, hearing Bhagavatam. I have lived all my life in Vraja, and I've never seen anyone like him. Prabhupada did many arduous, sometimes you get these people that they're sitting at Radhakund and chanting and thinking, and they're criticizing Prabhupada of all people.
Right.
Oh, he wasn't deep, he was institutional, blah, blah, blah.
Give me a break.
Yeah, give me a break.
Give me a break, people.
I'm not hearing any of that garbage. Some newbie, who wants to.
Giving some
No. Here's a Babaji born at Radhakund saying, I've never, ever seen anyone do sadhana like him. He said Prabhupada did many arduous things. He worked very hard there at the Radha Damodar temple. And at times it was austere, undeveloped, and very muddy and dirty with no facilities. Weeping. Babaji Maharaj quoted a shloka from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita from Sanatana Goswami about the importance of sadhana. Then quoting Svarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy, he said, without sadhana, one can never attain Krishna Prem. Also, Prativiti Ache Yata Nagaradi Gram. Which means that one should take this to every town and village, this holy name. Many years later, when I heard that it was actually he who had been chosen by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to spread the Hare Krishna Mahamantra around the world, I was not surprised. Interesting, right? Oh, yes. Him, yes. I could see Lord Chaitanya choosing him specifically. Prabhupada spread this Krishna consciousness by the mercy of Rupa Goswami. Prabhupada used to pray.
What a nice, gracious thing to say.
Yes.
Right? Because some people a lot of people probably were like, I could have done that. I just, I was busy with other stuff.
Yeah. No. Prabhupada spread this Krishna consciousness by the mercy of Rupa Goswami. Prabhupada used to pray to Rupa Goswami, you please give me your mercy. And then he got that mercy. I know this.
Oh, sorry.
He's going to talk about that.
Okay. All right. Do I get to say anything today?
No.
You could have said, Raghu, you sleep in. I know you're wiped because I got a story to tell.
And then he got that mercy. I know this because I saw some things he did at the Radha Damodar temple.
Mm-hmm.
So the Radha Damodar temple is where Prabhupada was staying in Vrindavan, which has the samadhi and the bhajan kutir, the tomb, and the place where Rupa Goswami did his sadhana.
He had a sweet little room with a little window, and in that little window,
Yeah.
it looked in the courtyard, and there was the tomb
Yes.
of, Rupa Goswami, the one
That's right.
sent to excavate bhakti in all the Vedic teachings, to compile the bhakti shastras, and to get that special mercy. That can
That's
be yours, my friend.
Okay.
I
Do you give that to me?
I give that to
Thank
you.
Thank
You keep that. If you want it, you keep it.
Okay. So he said, I saw him do some things with the right on. That's how I know he got this mercy. He says, my room is still located in the same place as it was then in 1964-65. Many times in the middle of the night, at midnight, or at 1 or 2 in the morning, I would hear a voice crying from inside the courtyard of Rupa Goswami's Samadhi temple. That voice was calling out and crying, but I did not know what it was because I was trying to take rest. But one night on the full moon, I heard that voice again. So I climbed up to the roof of our house and I looked down into the Radha Damodar courtyard. I saw something very amazing. Srila Prabhupada was sweeping the courtyard of Rupa Goswami's Samadhi. He was bending down with a small broom, and as he swept by the ground of the Samadhi, he was crying out, "Hey Rupa, hey Sanatana, hey Gurudeva, please give me your mercy. Without your mercy, I cannot do anything. Give me the mercy. Give me the strength that I may fulfill your orders." Then I realized that it was he who almost every night was calling out as he was sweeping like this. Living next door to him, I would often visit as he sat on the veranda in the mornings and evenings. He was a very attractive personality to many Vaishnavas, and many Vaishnavas were eager for his association. When he gave pravachan, when he spoke publicly from the books of the Goswāmīs or Srila Bhaktivedanta or his Gurudeva, many scholars and elevated saints would come to hear. I noticed that people were frequently coming for his sangha and for his counsel also. He was kind to everyone and was very popular. Sometimes, if too many people had visited and he wanted his private time to chant or write in his room, then he would ask me to sit there in his place on the veranda and tell anyone inquiring that he was not available now. Because I felt great affection for him, I asked if I might do any service for him. Sometimes he let me sweep the room and the veranda, remove trash, wash clothes, and other small things. One day I clearly remember I was cleaning his room and I saw some cobwebs hanging from the ceiling. With the broom, I swept them down. Then I saw the spiders crawling on the floor. I was just noticing this when Srila Prabhupada came inside. Immediately he looked to the floor and saw the spiders. Then he looked up to the ceiling. "Why have you disturbed?" he asked. I apologized, feeling ashamed. So he was saying, like, "What? Why did you disturb the spiders? They had a nice little spider web there. Why did you ruin their little home there, right?"
Yeah.
So he said, I apologized, feeling ashamed, saying that I had made a mistake, but that the spiders were not killed and they would be all right. Then he told me that we should never cause disturbance to residents of the Holy Dham. He said that we ourselves are actually newcomers, and they have been residing here for countless generations and must be respected. When he gave me this instruction, he was very grave. Since that day, I have not disrupted any spiders or other creatures anywhere in Sri Vrindavan. We often went together to the Yamuna for Sankirtan in the late afternoons. He would bring cartels for chanting. I played the mridanga. Many local devotees became accustomed to this beautiful prikrama and joined him there on the bank of the river. He engaged all in singing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and Panchatattva mantra and dancing very joyfully. To fulfill Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prophecy, Srila Prabhupada came here to Vrindavan first. The Lord has utilized such an empowered person to spread his mission. Anything like this has to be done with a heavy, strong sadhana. Krishna rewarded him because he had so much nishta, so much fixed determination, and shraddha, so much faith. I've never seen such sadhana and feeling as his. If you want to take anything, the hand has to go and pick it up. So like that, you have to steal premadana, steal the wealth. One can take it. Prabhupada is here right now. But we have to find him out because Krishna has hidden him as if behind a curtain. His Leela, his pastimes, they're still going on. He's still chanting at Radha Damodar temple and sweeping the courtyard, doing these wonderful pastimes. Like tying up camphor in a cloth. After the camphor is gone, the smell is in the cloth that it still remains. So Srila Prabhupada is certainly there. We have to endeavor to see Prabhupada. He has not gone anywhere. And if we feel the separation, then we can be with him. With strong endeavor, utkanta, everything will be revealed. Like a chaste wife, with chastity, all these things will come. Like parents who have so much affection and put their hands on their child's head. Similarly, if we go to Srila Prabhupada, he will embrace us with so much feeling like the Lord does. Take it like that.
Nice.
You can talk now. You're free to talk.
Thank you, Master. Nice. Yeah. He left impressions. I might have told this story once before, but we were doing a class. When Shelter used to live in Philadelphia, we went down to South Street every Wednesday. We did a big kirtan in the streets, the Nagar Sankirtan through the streets. Then we go back to Govinda's, and on the third floor there was, we take the whole thing over, we do a rip-roaring kirtan, and then I'd give Bhagavad Gita class. It was basically a lot of kids from the punk hardcore scene in the 90s. Everyone was pretty young. A bunch of the brahmacharis, a bunch of the people that were sort of into Krishna from the music scene. So it was a whole scene of about 30 to 50 people every Wednesday. Big feast, really delicious. And then one day a devotee came in, and he had a briefcase and a suit. He was older than me. He was just sitting there, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Maybe someone gave him a flyer. Maybe someone's met him on the street and said, hey, there's a class that goes on Wednesday. But he seemed to know all the words. And so I was like, maybe he's a devotee that was around for a while, but I've never seen him before. So after the class, I went up to him and I said, hey, man, what's your story? He said, well, I was a young brahmachari, and I used to distribute books for Prabhupada. And then I just sort of tripped up in Maya, moved out, and I just sort of got married, had kids, and just forgot completely about my spiritual life. And that was maybe happens. You'll get sucked into the material world. One bad choice door opens, leading to another bad choice door that opens. And he said, for the last year, I've been suffering from incredibly scary nightmares. Like, I'm actually scared to go to bed at night. And then just the other night, when I went to bed, instead of a nightmare, I had this dream that just Prabhupada came to me. And he didn't say anything, but he was very, very sad, as if to say, where have you gone? I've given you so much, where have you gone? And from that moment on, I had to find the devotees, and I found you guys. And so he just showed up that day, right from work, in a briefcase and a suit. And it was very sweet.
Nice.
Leaves impressions. You get a taste of bhakti, and it's like you're on the fish hook. The fish hook, and the fisherman's letting you go. Sometimes, because the fisherman doesn't really, if the fish is too big, he's got to let the fish take it until the fish exhausts itself. And so when we get into bhakti, through kirtan, they're chanting the holy name, through association with great devotees, they're going to a holy place, they're going on a pilgrimage, something lodges in our heart. But we say, you know what? I've got my material life to work out. And Krishna says, oh, okay, go do it. Go do your material life. And then sometimes we swim a few weeks away from Krishna, a few months away, a few years, a few decades. And then we exhaust ourselves. And in that material exhaustion, we start to say, what have I done? Where's Krishna? And that's when, once we turn towards Krishna again, he was always in the heart, never went away. Your wealth came, your wealth got lost. He or she came, he or she was lost, died, split up, broke your heart, whatever. Kids have come, kids have gone. Your job's changed, your house changed, you upsize, you downsize, but Krishna was always there. And now you're getting reeled in by Krishna. You're turning towards Krishna, and Krishna reels you in. And this happens again and again when you get touched. and when you get hooked in the heart of a pure devotee, that material exhaustion and the impressions someone like Prabhupada leaves on the heart. What else you got up your sleeve?
I got more, Raghu. Ready?
Yeah, up your cheddar. What's up your cheddar today?
This is Śrīman Kishanlal Sharma
Śrīman
Paṇḍita.
Kishanlal.
Yes, Śrīman Kishanlal Sharma Paṇḍita is a dudwala. He's a milkman living near the Radha Damodar temple.
A dude walla. A dude baba.
He says, my father used to give milk to Srila Prabhupada when he lived at the Radha Damodar temple in the early 1960s.
Gen Z
Prabhupada
never
would-
heard of a milkman. We had milkmen growing up, didn't we?
Yeah, the guy would come and deliver milk.
I had a milkman.
Yeah. Srila
But
Prabhupada
India's a
would come-
common thing. A dude walla.
Srila Prabhupada would come and would come daily to our shop with his tiffin cup, and my father would give him cow's milk for his offering as madhukari. For his, like, he would come begging for it, right? Give him a little. Sometimes if my father noticed that Prabhupada had not come for several days to collect milk, he would send me there to deliver it. Srila Prabhupada was very affectionate to us, and we had love and appreciation for him. I saw Prabhupada now and then, only to take milk to him. In those days, there was a way to cross through the Radha Damodar courtyard, but now that has been closed off. When I would bring the milk in a tiffin from my father, I would ask Prabhupada if he had anything to eat, but Prabhupada would only want milk. I saw that in his room, there was only perhaps a little fruit or dry flour, nothing else. He was too busy in his Hari Bhajan to eat, right? He was so absorbed in his spiritual practice, he was eating very little. Prabhupada never used to talk very much. He was always studying his books. He seemed to me that he stayed in his room and did not talk to people, except in the evenings. This is probably he's writing, probably writing Bhagavatam at this time. Except in the evenings on his veranda. He would close his doors and do his bhajan in his room. We also heard from the neighbors that he was chanting very much and always studying and writing manuscripts. I remember that his room at that time was very old and in disrepair. The bricks in the walls were crumbling in many places. There was no stone floor, only dirt. Did you know that? Only dirt on the floor. Even there were some weeds in the floor. The land all around Radha Damodar Mandir was like a jungle then. It was not built up with so many rooms and paths as it is today. One time I came to deliver the milk. I arrived in his doorway and stood there with the container, but he was chanting Harinam very deeply and didn't hear me. So I was waiting there for some time because I did not want to interrupt his devotion. I kept peeking inside his door, which was partially open, and I noticed that there were many tears in his eyes and on his face. Many people are saying this, right?
Yeah.
Getting to see this Prabhupada before he came to America. I kept waiting there, but he still didn't look up to see me for a long time. As I watched, I noticed that on the dirt floor there were some bugs. Then I saw a scorpion crawling on the ground. It was coming, a scorpion. It was coming close to his feet, to the feet of Srila Prabhupada, but he didn't notice. I watched it come closer and closer. I made little noises to catch his attention, but he was still chanting and not aware of outside things. Finally, after I had anxiously waited for what seemed like quite some time, I called out to him, "Oh, Prabhu, there's a scorpion near you." He slowly opened his eyes, which were wet with tears. When he looked at me, his glance was so deep with feeling and mercy. He just looked at me and then looked down at the scorpion. I asked him if I could sweep it from the room. In a gentle, grave voice, he answered, "No, no. Please do not worry about it. Don't disturb. He is also a devotee." It's beautiful, right? He's
They
just
say it's
looking
a
at the
mystic
scorpion.
power that when a person gets to a certain level, they can live with poisonous creatures like scorpions and snakes because they have no
Another
envy
time-
in their heart.
Yeah. Another time I went there to his room with some milk from my father and found his doors locked shut. No one knew for sure where he had gone, but some said Prabhupada had gone to the west. He left Vrindavan Dham quietly without notice, and we missed him. After some years, I saw him again when he came back to Vrindavan. I was walking on Vrindavan Prikrama near Keshigat, and I saw a few white devotees surrounding a sannyasi. Like many of the local people, I was very curious and came nearby to look. Amazingly, I saw that it was my old friend, Srila Swami Maharaj. Then Prabhupada looked over and saw me. He called out to me and motioned for me to come nearby. I ran to his feet and touched them in the dust. Prabhupada then embraced me with love. Rubbing my head, he said to his students, "Oh, this is my boy, my old friend. He brought me milk and helped me before when I had nothing." Then Prabhupada took off a necklace of some valuable stones that he had on his neck. He broke it and put some of the stones in my hand. We have kept that gift and made those stones into earrings that my wife wears every day. Oh.
Love to get those.
These people remind me of like Mukesh, right? Just like
Never sweet. No ego whatsoever.
yeah. Okay, I could read one more. How about one more?
Yeah, let's do it, Kastuba.
Okay, even if we go a little over. We started late, I think. This is from Acharya Nirmal Chandra Goswāmī, who is the son of Sri Gaur Chand Goswami. He's the Mahant of the Śrī Radha Mandir in Vrindavan. Okay, so he's kind of in charge of the temple where Prabhupada was living there. He was born in 1945.
Okay.
I first met Śrī Advaita Ācārya Prabhu, that's Prabhupada, before he took up permanent residence here at Radha Mandir. He used to come here regularly when he was residing in the Vangsi Gopal temple nearby. And almost every evening he discussed the writings of Srila Jiva Goswami and Srila Rupa Goswami with my father. This stuff interests me so much now. He lived there in these downstairs rooms from 1960 or 61 into 65, Prabhupada's rooms at Radha Damodar. I also knew him at the Sitaram temple in Chippiwada when he did his seva in Delhi. Sometimes Prabhupada would go to Delhi to get printing done and so on. And so he would also go visit him there. His sister Pishima also visited here. My father affectionately
I wish I met
Pishima.
Pishima, Prabhupada's older sister.
He said my father affectionately called her Pishi.
Pishi.
When Srila Prabhupada moved here, some of his family members, she or some brothers and their wives and other relatives would come and stay in another room. He never asked them to come into his rooms. They stayed and took prasad in the other guest rooms. My mother's name was Srimati Durga Devi, and Srila Prabhupada used to call her Maji Maharaj, Honorable Mother, and sometimes Ma Gosai as well. She arranged prasadam and everything for everyone who came as guests, and he would daily take madhukari from her as the first person in the afternoon. He'd come and beg a little food. He had one cooker in his kitchen room. After taking madhukari, he boiled some small portions, offered them, and honored prasad. Took rest for half an hour, and then wrote. He wrote all night. Just such a beautiful... He wrote all night as well. Imagine just like when I need rice, I just go and I say, "Could I please have some rice?" "Oh, for sadhu like you, of course, we give you some rice." And then he goes back and cooks it. When he lived
Check out this. Wait, hold the phone here. Nityananda Chandra on the message board writes, Pishima's granddaughter came to the Brooklyn temple 2 weeks ago to honor the death of her mother.
Wow.
She came with a large group. What?
Large group. Interesting.
Large group.
I know
Pishima's granddaughter. Let's get to the bottom of this. Okay, go on. I'm sure they're out there, relatives.
When he lived here permanently, he sometimes used to discuss with Gaur Chand Goswami the feelings. I love this. The feelings, When he lived here permanently, he sometimes used to discuss with Gaur Chand Goswami the feelings he was receiving by the Goswami's mercy. Right? From the sages who consolidated Sri Chaitanya's teachings into the most elevated form of Vedanta, he was praying to them and receiving direct inspiration in that place where they resided, right? After getting inspiration from the Goswamīs, he began to translate in his mind. He discussed these things with my father on several occasions. Then he translated the first 3 volumes of the Srimad Bhagavatam in this room. He played mridanga every morning here in this courtyard for Mangalarti. First, he would take bath in the Yamuna River. So he's going out in the dark, right? Bathing in the Yamuna River. And then he came here to the temple for Sankirtan, to do Kirtan. Before he came, I had not known the secret. Okay, he talks a little bit about bathing. I'll skip over that. After Srila Prabhupada came back from his bath in Yamuna, he would sit in his kitchen room looking out into the courtyard of Rupa Goswami's Samadhi, and he would apply his tilak very carefully and chant his mantras. Then he used to sing bhajans by himself with cartels. And I especially remember him singing. What song do you think he was singing? Any guesses?
Hari Hari Bifale, Janmana Gainu.
He was singing Shri Rupa Manjari Pada.
All right.
At 11:30 in the morning, he would sit here on the veranda and give himself a mustard oil massage. Then he would regularly go to Boga Arti. My family's name is Pan, and his nickname for me was Panchu. I was 16 or 17 years old at that time. In 1964, he did a program here together with Van Maharaj and Panchanana Goswami from the Govindadev temple, and I came as well. He told me that he wanted me to perform very beautiful deity service, especially the outfits in the Boga. I made nice design, and he liked my service. Now I do Samadhi Seva and all the deity decoration here. Prabhupada asked me to come with him.
Mother Yamuna talks about him a lot in the book, Punchu.
Does she? Oh, there he
Yeah.
is. Okay, here's Punchu.
He was like a teenager, I think.
He says, Prabhupada asked me to come with him to America, and when he got there, he wrote and asked me, Punchu, you come here and teach my new brahmacharis cooking and pujari work. He also gave me instruction on how to learn many Gita shlokas with a beautiful tune. He used to give pravachan, he used to give classes, and at that time, 5 or 6 people would sit with him and listen to his discourses and have discussions. Then at 5 o'clock, he would leave for darshan and parikrama of Govindadev, Gopinath, and Madan Mohan. He would go to the local temples. He slept for 5 hours at most, and sometimes less, only 2 or 3. He was always thinking of Bhagavatam verses in translation, and if any shloka came into his mind, he would write it down immediately, whatever he was doing at the time. Even if he was sleeping or walking, he would immediately go to write. In the early years, Srila Prabhupada's financial situation was actually not so weak. He would give money to the temple. But then when he became a sannyasi, he didn't have any funds at all. He told my grandfather here at Radha Damodar that he got direct permission from his Gurudev, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, to go to the West. Not just permission, but an order. He already had the direction, but now here was a direct connection and instruction. Now you must go there. He asked, how shall... So this is going on in the courtyard where the samadhi of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is. He's receiving instruction from him personally there, right? How shall I do this? And he was told, it is Rupa Goswami's order. It is his power that gives these feelings to you. So if you start to go there, there will be no problem. Imagine that. Swami Maharaj told my father about his sporty darshan, how this manifest darshan of his guru appeared to him at the Pushpa Samadhi, at his guru's Samadhi tomb. And he told him that he could understand that the order was absolute because this incident was directly at his Gurudev's Samadhi. He used to joke very sweetly when he was giving Hari Katha and Pravachan. He spoke about Krishna as Makanchor, and then he would start to laugh. Sounds like you, Raghunath.
A little bit.
During the kirtans, he often danced, and when he did so, it was very beautiful. Surely he was so deep. Everything he did seemed beautiful and expert. Whenever he gave talks about Srimad Bhagavatam in this room of my grandfather's house, a very small room, he would also talk about Chaitanya Charitamrita and Mahaprabhu. I remember how he would weep when he spoke, especially when he talked about Gambhira. Srila Prabhupada told me that in my service, I would see Śrī Radha Damodar's Shringar, the decoration, become very beautiful and developed. This was a prediction and also an instruction to me. Because of his mercy, all the renovations have come about, including the kitchen and the altar after 300 years. The main altar elevation has been done with marble. Now this is an interesting little story he tells. He said, once when I was still quite young, I ran away from home here in Vrindavan with only the pants and shirt on my back and nothing else. I caught the bus to Delhi and I went straight to Srila Prabhupada's room in Chippiwada. When he first greeted me, he said, oh, you're here. So who is doing the service to Sri Radha Damodar? I explained that it was all right because there was a pujari there. And then he said, but why did you choose to come to me? I said, I want to live with you here. Very good, he answered, I will take you. He was very affectionate and kind to me and let me stay there with him in his own quarters for 5 or 6 days. Unknown to me, as soon as I arrived in Delhi, he sent a postcard to Vrindavan to tell my father that I was safe and that he would keep me for a while in his care. We still have that postcard preserved, as well as a few original letters and photos. Srila Prabhupada, he says, my father told me how Srila Prabhupada always lived like a first-class devotee. Even when he was wearing white cloth, he had regular offerings and artiks. He never talked about his past grihastha life that he had left behind. He was affectionate to the small local boys, giving them sweets and kind words every day. But he was finished with his past family dealings. He and my father were friends. Whenever Srila Prabhupada went to Delhi, my father would carefully save his mail until he returned. When Srila Prabhupada was leaving Sri Vrindavan to go across the ocean to America, my father came to him. He put a flower garland from Sri Sri Radha Damodar on him and offered him Mahaprasad. They embraced each other and cried. Oh, these things touch me, huh? Srila Prabhupada.
All right.
All right, brother.
That was it. Thank you for that reading, sir.